Hello, I'm author and publisher Mark David Welsh and welcome to Cold Book Review, where this week I'll be discussing Nightmare at 20,000 Feet and Other Stories by Richard Matheson. And please don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you enjoy the video. So today I'm talking about Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, Horror Stories by Richard Matheson. Now, I first come across Matheson unknowingly when, as a young kid, I thrilled to the microscopic adventures of the incredible shrinking man in that classic 1957 movie starring Grant Williams. I mean, who can forget Tiny Scott Carey's battle with the spider in the cellar, or him living in a doll's house and fleeing from the house cat? Later on, I thrilled to Charlton Heston's battle with the undead in a post-apocalyptic world in The Omega Man, and John Lithgow's crazy vision of a monster on the wing of a passenger plane in Twilight Zone the movie. Now, as I got older and began to focus more on the written word, I learned that all these ideas originally sprung from the mind of author Richard Matheson. Now, I would have realised this far earlier if I'd been more intimately acquainted with the TV show The Twilight Zone, for several of his stories were adapted for that show, but I confess I never cared for that TV programme too much and I hadn't seen many episodes. It wasn't rerun in the UK when I was growing up, and instead we got The Outer Limits, which I liked far better anyway because of the longer format. I find 25 minutes is just not long enough to develop a story sufficiently for my personal taste. And this is something that's also reflected in my reading habits a little bit. I much prefer full-length novels to shorter pieces. But I recently revisited the Roger Corman, Vincent Price, Edgar Allan Poe movies from the early 1960s, and I was very impressed with Matheson's adaptations of the stories The Fall of the House of Usher and The Pit and the Pendulum. So I figured it was time to try some of his literary output. And I picked this particular collection because it seemed to contain most of his more well-known stories, and the second-hand copy I got was very good value for money. And I'm pleased to confirm that I thoroughly enjoyed it. The level of consistency over the 20 stories and Matheson's style very much put me in mind of Arthur Conan Doyle. Brisk, brutally efficient and not a word wasted. These tales have been edited down to their essentials, and this bare bones approach makes for a very swift and satisfying read. There was a few times actually where I felt the style was actually elevating the content, and I did find some of the endings a little predictable. Having said that, however, of course these stories are from the 1950s and 1960s and have inspired many authors and filmmakers since, so it's not all that surprising to find that some of Matheson's ideas may have turned up elsewhere in the half-century since and seem a little over-familiar. Obviously the title story is brilliant in its simplicity, and other of my favourites include Disappearing Act, The Children of Noah, First Anniversary, Wet Straw and The Distributor. Now, if you enjoy short stories and are looking for a little thrill of horror at bedtime, you could do a lot worse than to check this out. Well, that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for joining me. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you did, and I'll see you next time.